Hey guys! Recently we've made a gaming Viber mouse and a nice fishing lure. And one of the main tools that we used to make those was a solderer. So, if there's a need for a quick substitute, you can hit a screwdriver on a stove and solder something with it. However, this method is not very effective, because the screwdriver cools down quite fast. I've been thinking of ways to make a nice solderer. In the end, I've decided to make a solderer out of lighters. So, let me show you my first ideas, their flaws, and then the conclusion I've made. The first idea was to take a detachable connector from a TV set, make some cuts to supply the flame with oxygen, and insert a sting. However, the build wasn't too efficient, because there was not enough oxygen and the lighter couldn't light up. The second prototype is a bit more complex, but a lot more viable, as I've succeeded to melt at least something with it. Here's a simple casing that I made from an aluminum plate. The sting is meant to be inserted here. When we use the lighter, the sting heats up, and then we can solder something. The main flaw was that the whole thing heated together with the sting, and as a result, it was hard to hold. The third idea was to make 3 holes and pass some bicycle spokes through them, and insert a sting and wrap it with copper wire. But it was a bit loose, and at times inconvenient to work with. Of course, besides these 3 ideas, there were a lot of others. For example, make such a box and insert a sting in it. Another idea was to place such a sting on top, but it was not efficient because of its thickness, and it hits too long. Now, let's move to the most efficient, low-cost and simple build. We need a lighter. Will be better to use the more expensive ones, as they seem to be more useful overall. Lighters like this won't fit, as it's impossible to use it for long periods of time, as the pole begins to melt. Best of all is to take a windproof lighter, as its flame temperature is higher in comparison, and your solderer will heat faster. We also need a piece of copper wire, about 4 mm in thickness, and a thin wire, or a small clamp. So, let's start. We have to make a sting using the copper wire. Take the nippers and bend the wire. Now, sharpen one end with emery or a file. Then, take our thin wire or a clamp and attach it to the lighter. All done! The mini solderer out of a lighter is ready. Let's test it. That's all! We've got such a nice mini solderer. Of course, there are a few inconveniences, like you will need to add fuel pretty often. But if it's necessary to solder a few wires, I think it should do the trick. Don't forget to write comments and press that like button. And also leave your ideas or suggestions in the comment section. Thanks for your attention. See you in the next video.